This program provides education, not advice. See the truthayf.com disclosure page for details.
This is where technology, innovation, and personal finance come together.
This is the truth about your future with Rick Edelman. Brought to you by Globalex ETFs, dedicated to providing investors with unexplored intelligent solutions, and by Invesco QQQ. Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ. Invesco Distributors, Inc.
It's Wednesday, May 3rd. My social media community now has 100,000 followers. Thank you. Visit me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. I respond to a lot of those comments and questions. You'll find links to all of that in today's show notes. And I want to ask you a favor. Please spread the word. This podcast is already in the top 1.5% of all podcasts in America. There are more than 5 million. So I'm very excited at the success of this show, but if you want this show to persist, we need to build up the number of followers. Please share it with your friends and family and spread it out on social media. One big topic that I've been getting from my followers on social media is about cash lately. Tina is dead. Remember Tina? There is no alternative. Tina came about over the past several years. People were wondering, how is it possible in the middle of the pandemic that the stock market is doing so well? The reason is because interest rates were so low. If you wanted to get a decent rate of return, you couldn't go into bonds because they were paying 0 point nothing. You couldn't go to bank accounts. You couldn't go to money market funds. All of those were paying 0 point nothing. So there was no alternative. Tina. People had to buy stocks because a lot of those stocks paid 3-4% dividends and the stocks were growing well. So I put money into an account, a treasury or a bank or a money market that's paying 0 point nothing when you could put the money into the stock market and get a much better return. Well, Tina is now dead because today interest rates are so much higher. You can get 5% from a 6-month treasury. Ordinary money market funds are now paying 4%. And with the recent government shutdowns of Silvergate Bank, Signature Bank, and Silicon Valley Bank, people are worried about their bank accounts, and they're therefore turning elsewhere to get better rates of return than those bank accounts were paying anyway. Hundreds of billions of dollars in just the past month have been withdrawn from U.S. banks. And there's a new player that has just come onto the scene. Apple. Apple has partnered with Goldman Sachs to offer a new savings account. It's paying 4.15%. Compare that to the average bank account that's paying 0.37. Everybody always wondered what would happen when the big tech companies, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, decided to get into the game. Well, guess what? Apple's in the game, and they're taking it by storm. And then there's the entire money market fund industry. In just the past 2 months alone, investors have placed $500 billion into money market funds. I mean, why take the risk of the stock market when you can get 4% from a money market fund? But I want you to remember that money market funds are not risk-free. And in fact, there's a new threat to them: the federal debt ceiling. I want to ask you 1.5 questions. The first question, will there be a federal shutdown this summer because of the federal debt ceiling? You've heard what's going on. Congress is recognizing that the federal government's ability to borrow money is reaching a ceiling imposed by federal law. And the Republicans are saying they don't want to raise the debt ceiling. The Democrats are saying you have to. If they can't reach an agreement on the federal budget, the government could be facing a shutdown. Do you think that will happen? And if it does, how long will it last? We need to recognize that this is an open political question right now. A lot of people offering a lot of opinions about what is going to occur this summer. Even if the government shuts down for just one day, there could be a big problem for money market funds and for short-term treasury bills. The reason is that if the government shuts down, any treasury bill that matures during the shutdown technically would be defaulted. The government is closed. It doesn't have any money. It doesn't have the ability to pay back the investors of those T-bills. And a big T-bill buyer are money market funds. And this is why many institutional investors are saying, don't buy any treasuries that mature in late July or early August, because that's about when the government is expected to shut down, if it shuts down. That's when the government runs out of money if Congress and the White House can't resolve this issue. Now, it might be easy for you and me to say, no problem. I won't buy any treasuries that mature in late July or early August. I'll buy treasuries that mature in early July or into September. But if you have a money market fund, that money market fund probably doesn't have the flexibility that you have. It too owns treasury bills, and it has to mark them to market. Meaning, if a treasury bill comes due during the shutdown and it is owned by a money market fund, that treasury technically could default, and that would force the money market fund to mark it to zero in default. That could force money market funds to break the buck, meaning that while money market funds are widely known for always being worth $1 per share, suddenly they might have to mark themselves down to 99 cents or 98 cents per share. That could create panic in the marketplace. People who own money market funds, who are unsophisticated investors, not understanding how money market funds work, could be shocked to discover that their money market shares, which have always been $1, are suddenly worth 1 or 2 pennies less. Could they become fearful that they could have further losses? Could this cause people to demand instant selling of their money market fund shares, getting their money out of those accounts, creating a run? And if they do create a run, this could force the money markets to sell the securities in their holdings quickly and urgently. And what might that do to the value of those underlying securities? I could be making all of this up. My point is, we don't know what's going to happen this summer. We haven't faced this kind of a situation before, and we're not exactly sure how it's going to play out. Most folks, quite frankly, are expecting calm heads to prevail in Washington, that the Republicans and Democrats will get their act together, they'll figure out a solution and prevent any of this from happening. I'm simply saying you need to be aware of this. If your fund does break the buck, it's going to be because of this short-term government shutdown. Nobody's expecting a shutdown at all. Those who aren't expecting one to last very long. And ultimately, any treasuries that default during the shutdown ultimately would be repaid by the federal government at 100% face value. Nevertheless, that's assuming people all understand what's going on and why. If there are people out there who own money market funds who are unfamiliar with what's happening and they simply react to the latest headline, there could be panic in the marketplace. You need to be aware of this. You need to talk to your financial advisor about this. If you are a financial advisor and you have clients who own money market funds, you need to talk to them now, prepare them for what's coming this summer so that people have expectations and clarity, and that will go far to avoiding and reducing any panic in the marketplace. Hey, today and tomorrow, I'm in Boston at the Tiburon CEO Summit. Investment management CEOs and other leading executives in the financial services field powwowing together. We do it every 6 months, a couple of hundred of us, and I'm really excited about being in Boston. I'll be here today and tomorrow. I'm really excited also about Friday's show. Cal Thomas will be joining me on the program. Cal is one of the longest-running columnists in the country. I think he has the record for his syndicated column, and he's just written a new book, a retrospective on his 50-year career. Be sure to join me on Friday with my conversation with Cal Thomas. And I'll see you tomorrow.
The Truth About Your Future is sponsored by Globalex ETFs. Listeners of this program enjoy fresh perspectives on the financial topics that matter most, especially the rise of exponential technologies. And right now, there may be no faster-moving tech story than the rise of artificial intelligence. But despite some exciting new developments, like the launch of ChatGPT, we are only beginning to scratch the surface of AI's potential. So, which companies will have staying power? As an investor, it's hard to know, which is why Globalex ETFs specializes in thematic investing strategies that harness the potential of numerous companies involved in an emerging trend, all in a single trade. Explore our investment approach along with our latest research on the emerging emergence of AI at globalexetfs.com/insights.
Support for Rick Edelman's podcast comes from Invesco QQQ. What do all the greatest innovations have in common? Agents, people who participate in progress by supporting cutting-edge ideas. Invesco QQQ is a fund that allows you access to innovators of the NASDAQ 100 all-in-one fund, so you don't have to be an inventor to help create what's next to come. Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ. Learn more at Invesco.com/QQQ. There are risks when investing in ETFs, including possible loss of money. ETFs' risks are similar to those of stocks. Investments in the tech sector are subject to greater risk and more volatility than more diversified investments. The NASDAQ 100 Index comprises the 100 largest non-financial companies on the NASDAQ. You can't invest directly into an index. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com. Invesco Distributors, Inc.
The information you need to plan for the tomorrow you want.
This is The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman.